Unless you've been living under a rock for the last 3 years, you would know that the path towards the Snyder Cut of 2017's Justice League has been a weird and fascinating roller coaster. In May of 2017, Zack Snyder stepped down from directing duties of Justice League following a family tragedy. Because of this, and Warner Brothers executives wanting the film to release in order to secure their yearly bonus, the film brought in Joss Whedon to finish the job. What resulted was a Frankenstein's monster, a movie that was completely devoid of a heart, soul, or anything remotely resembling a vision. The movie released was straight up embarrassing. After the release of the movie, fans demanded Snyder's vision see the light of day. Fans started podcasts, sent out tweets, created YouTube videos. Hell, one guy even organized fucking skywriting. This demand to release the Snyder Cut was real, and it was passionate. On November 17th, 2019, the movie's second anniversary, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, and Ray Fisher all tweeted out the same hashtag, Release the Snyder Cut. On May 21st, 2020, during a live stream viewing party of 2013's Man of Steel, Zack Snyder revealed the truth.
I have this. I don't know if this is helpful. See that?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
The Snyder Cut is real, and it is being released.
And by the way, they're real and they're spectacular.
So you're probably wondering, how does the Snyder Cut change movies? Well, in a pretty big way, actually. You see, nothing like this has ever happened before. Don't get me wrong, director's cuts have always been a thing, even going as far back as Charlie Chaplin's 1925 comedy, The Gold Rush, which was believed to have had the first director's cut released to the public in the early 1970s. However, there has never been a case quite like the Snyder Cut of Justice League. As The Hollywood Reporter states, the Snyder version of the film that will hit HBO's streaming service next year still needs work. In fact, it actually needs $20 to $30 million worth of work. This is also different to the special editions of George Lucas's Star Wars, as no one was really denying Lucas the possibility of altering those movies. After all, George Lucas owned Star Wars. In fact, the only thing holding Lucas back from adding dewbacks into A New Hope was time and the technology at his disposal. The Snyder Cut is revolutionary in the sense that it's a director literally having carte blanche. It's a director who was denied the possibility of telling his story actually being allowed to do so. As Snyder himself states, "This return to that pedigree and to let my singular vision of my movie be realized in this format, in this length, is unprecedented and a brave move." So how could the Snyder Cut genuinely change Hollywood? For starters, we could see a lot more IP films going straight to streaming services. Of course, over on Disney+, Star Wars is killing it with shows like The Clone Wars, The Mandalorian, and the forthcoming Obi-Wan Kenobi. But the Snyder Cut is different. It's a movie based on some of the most popular superhero characters ever. It's not like Star Wars, and it's not a TV show, it's a film. Whether they want to release it episodically is one thing, but at the end of the day, it's still a 4-hour movie. Imagine if the next Avengers movie just skipped cinemas entirely and just dropped on Disney+. It would be the most insane thing ever, but the Snyder Cut, depending on its success, could potentially lead to a future where that's not a weird thing. Additionally, we could see directors getting more power in Hollywood. Since the genesis of show business, directors have often been slaves to the producers and studio executives, often having to concede their vision in exchange for a job, even after their vision is what actually got them said job. It is a messy industry that makes no sense to any outsider, but the Snyder Cut could attempt to change that. By giving Zack Snyder this ridiculous power and saying, here, you have your vision, this is your vision, we're going to pop it on a streaming service and people are going to consume it there, you're giving a director ridiculous power. And it could very well impact how other directors deal with contracts and how other directors deal with being pushed out of editing rooms. It's just insane. This very well could be a genesis for a new age of power in Hollywood, in which case the studio executives and the producers are not the ones calling the shots. It's actually the filmmakers and artists themselves. If the Snyder Cut is huge for HBO Max and receives beautiful reviews, potentially we're looking at a future where Phil Lord and Chris Miller wouldn't get fired halfway through production on their Star Wars movie. Of course, directors like Quentin Tarantino, Christopher Nolan, the Coen brothers, Wes Anderson, and David Fincher don't really face this problem, as studios would do anything to work with them. Even someone like Martin Scorsese has come into a problem with studios and producers these days. If you look at The Irishman, the reason why that movie went to Netflix was because Netflix wanted Scorsese to have complete freedom. They were willing to do whatever he wanted in order to get his vision on screen. That's actually why it left Paramount and went to Netflix. Kinda makes you think, maybe there is a genuine freedom over at the streaming services. The Snyder Cut is a ballsy and unprecedented thing. It's a studio essentially apologizing on the biggest stage of them all. It's essentially a studio saying, we fucked up for fixing a movie and now we're going to give you more money to actually fix the movie. It's insane. It's a director finally winning. It's David triumphing over Goliath. It is a really, really, really important moment for artistic freedom and creative control. Comic book movies have never really been important. They've existed solely to make the studio ridiculous money. They're not going to win Oscars and they're not going to change the industry. However, the Snyder Cut could potentially do that. Here we have a comic book movie that represents more than a yearly bonus. It could give power to directors in unforeseen ways. And as a budding filmmaker myself, that's the future I want to live in. That's the future I want to work in. So if you're a fan of cinema, you're a fan of movies, you want artists to be able to say what they want to say, the Snyder Cut is so important to you. If you're fucked off that David Lynch's Dune movie was bad because the studio didn't let him do what he wanted to do, the Snyder Cut is important. If you are furious that Phil Lord and Chris Miller didn't get to do Solo, the Snyder Cut is important. I can't stress enough how important this movie really is. It's not just about whether you're a Zack Snyder fan or whether you love DC more than Marvel. It has nothing to do with that. What's really important is that it's a director who was promised his vision, that vision being taken away, and now that vision has come back. It's a beautiful moment for cinema, and God willing, it's the first of many. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. It's a little different to what I normally do. I'm super passionate about Zack Snyder's movies. I love the director. He's just such an inspiration to me. I adore Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. I actually had a poster of Batman v Superman in my room for about 2 years, and then I eventually got a girlfriend and took it down. But what I think this Snyder Cut means is a future that everyone's vision is, worth salvaging, worth saving. And I think that that's really, really important. Fucking Snyder Cut, let's go. I'm very excited. Have a good week, and I'll see you guys very soon.